welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Succession Success Podcast, the Q5 Experience Podcast, right here on the Empowering Futures Podcast Network. My name is Matt Dery. I run marketing and business development for both the Q5 Experience and Financial Architects, Inc. And on this show, we talk about business succession planning. We talk about businesses that are building transferable value, building enterprise value in their business. And we love having guests and centers of influence on this very show. You can find our other two podcasts as well, Living the Life Method and Inside Financial Architects, right here, wherever you get your podcasts on the Empowering Futures Podcast Network. For those watching on YouTube, you'll see on the screen right now is our guest today from MI-GSO, PCUBED. He is a senior consultant, and we're going to get into everything that they do. Rich Weller is our guest today on the program. What's up, Rich?
Hey, Matt, thank you for the opportunity to be here with you, share a little bit of my personal knowledge, share a little bit of the knowledge about our organization, and maybe out of that, your folks will get a nugget or two of value themselves.
I love it. Rich, as a senior consultant, and you've been with MP for a while now, what does that entail? And also tell us a little bit about the firm.
Yeah, so MI-GSO, PCUBED, or just say MP for short. We've got a lot of acronyms there. Just say MP for short. You can find us on the web. But we, believe it or not, are the world's largest consulting organization that focuses exclusively on project management and change management. And that's what we do. The organization has been around since 1991, like been around for quite some time, and helped many of the major organizations as well as smaller organizations throughout the years in project management as well as change management. And we have at this point in time, we have like over 3,000 consultants around the world in 30 different offices. Here in the United States, we've got about 250 people.
Now, some will say, all right, this is a show about, and mostly we talk about business owners and their succession plans and how at Q5 we kind of help guide them down that road for 3 to 5 years. With you, what really kind of clicked when you and I talked was you were a business owner at a very young age.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Matt. So you're cracking open a can here, which could get us long-winded, but I'll be as short as possibly can. So believe it or not, my first business was in the third grade, in which I started selling school supplies to my peers in class. So that was the first business. Went on a number of years later, started a lawn care business like every 12-year-old boy in the neighborhood. However, I built that into an organization which actually paved my way or paid my way through college, no student loans. So we had, I had 3 trucks, 15 people working for me. Had to go buy a PC to keep track of all these. There was like 300 accounts that we had to take care of. And that organization, that business, after I graduated from college, I ended up selling that to move on to another stage of my career. So that I've done a few entrepreneurial and other things on the side, but those are the two to start off with. Like, man, you've been doing this in third grade and you paid your way through school and sold a business. So I think that allows me to somewhat connect with your audience members here, I believe.
Take us through and how was the process and what was the process like back then, selling a business that you had success with, and obviously you were very young, but it was a business that still to this day, folks need all that kind of care, whether it's for their home or commercially. What was the process like? And if you had to go back and do it all over again, what would you change?
Great question. 2 questions in there. So I'm going to take the first one first. And that was, and I'm sure I'm speaking right to every one of our business owners or the business owners here. That business is your baby. It's your child. You grew it from an infant all the way up, and it's hard. It's hard to let go. It's hard to think about, and it's hard, of not having that presence in your life, because we were a household name in that area, and people knew the name and knew me, and I was able to do a lot of things in the community, and to kind of let go of that. Like I had to do make some mental changes as well in myself, to be prepared to deal with this absence of this entity in my life. So that was one aspect of things. The other aspect of things is, in my mind, was, and we're going to get into something called change management here in a minute. But as I look back in time, One of the other things that I had to deal with was the fact that all these people that worked for me, I was leaving them.
Yeah.
And many of them had concerns with that. Like don't go, and we had to kind of deal with that and help those folks get through that almost mourn or loss, as well as we were transferring the organization from myself to the new owners. So those were, and then also that a little bit of gap in the community, because the community knew myself as the owner of the business and very active in the community, and now that switches. So a lot of emotional things going on there, and a lot of different changes going on in there as well, even back then.
I'm sorry, Rich Weller with me from MP, senior consultant for MI-GSO PCUBED, and an entrepreneur at heart. This was a guy, like we said, that Rich, I got to go back to this, and I'm not running this into the ground, but you're good with this. You had 500 accounts at a very young age doing that. So, like you said, the company was your baby, but I'm sure those clients of yours you gained relationships with too, right?
Oh, absolutely. And you got to think about it, man. We mowed lawns, and that's really all we did. It's not like some of the bigger outfits you see today. Very small town, rural atmosphere, rural setting, and the majority of our customers were older folks. So you got to build those relationships with those older folks. Hey, I'll take your trash out too, and how you doing today? And right. Again, it's about relationships, and I think that's one of the reasons why the business was so successful for me. I somehow understood that at an early age.
With MP now, you're dealing with many entrepreneurs and customers and clients. I know I met Jaws and Carla from your awesome company at an aerospace event, Aerospace Industry Association of Michigan. Shout out to Tony Bernacci and everybody at AIAM. They're tremendous. But what's the sweet spot? Who are you looking to work with, and what are they looking for from you?
Yeah, great question. Let's shift gears here. Let me go through a little bit of a transition. So it's like, Rich, how did you go from that entrepreneur over to this consulting organization? Working with some of the major players out there. So I again, after I went through college, my undergrad's in business with a minor in computer science, and I then even went on to get my master's degree. So like you say, I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and I'm a business guy at heart. And so going through all that schooling, I stumbled in, I'll be honest, I stumbled into this profession called project management. And what I realized each one of these projects is like a little baby business, right? There's a problem we're trying to solve, and let's put a project together to solve that problem and bring value back to the organization. So this project management stuff, it came so quickly to me because of my entrepreneurial background, because of my customer oriented spirit, because of my business background. The project management stuff came very quickly, and I got it. And so today I work for the world's largest a project management consulting organization that also focuses on change management. So what we do is very similar. This organization that I work for, again, kind of fits me like a hand in a glove. And so what we do is we look for organizations that are maybe having some challenges in some area, and we say, what are those pain points? What are those challenges? And let us, maybe we can help you find a path towards resolution or making things better, right? The organization's been around since 1991, 3,000 of us around the world. And that's what we bring to the table. And it's through that project management. And you may think, oh yeah, project management, that's like a commodity, but it's not all the same. It's not all the same. And what we learned, and what I personally learned along the way, is that project management, these projects can't stand alone. Yes, you can take a project, whatever that is, we want to achieve this, we want to solve this problem. But to help ensure success, you need to think about the people side of things. And you can have the greatest plan in the world, but if your people aren't on board and they aren't aware, your chances of success are much less. And that's where this change management component comes in, that that you and I kind of touched on in the past. That's where this piece comes in. And that's what we are kind of experts in as well.
Yeah, the one thing with the group at Q5, and folks have watched and listened to past episodes, and you and I have talked a little bit about the Q5 experience as well. As you're right, you see behind me, you got the people side, you got the financial side, the business side, but it's the people side that really matters most when it comes to these organizations. And know, like, and trust, KLT. You want to work people you know, like, and trust. But that is very, very interesting. I want to get into more with Rich about change management, and he kind of calls it something else that we're going to get into coming up next. Rich Weller is our guest right here on Succession Success, the Q5 Experience Podcast. Don't go anywhere.
As a business owner, have you ever thought about what it would look like to leave on your terms? In a business, there are too many moving parts to fully understand and implement a practical succession plan while at the same time living inside your own business. Your energy today is focused on running a great company. In the end, don't you want the highest value? Get to the next phase in life on your terms and leave an impactful legacy? We help with that. The Q5 Experience. We help take the I don't know out of what's next.
Welcome back. Matt Dery with you here. Another episode of our Q5 Experience Podcast, Succession Success. If you want to know more about what we do at Q5 and how we help business owners kind of take the I don't know out of what's next for them as they're looking down the road, go to q5experience.com. Rich Weller is with me from MI-GSO PCUBED. And like he said, the largest project management company out there. They do a fantastic job and work with so many different companies, not only here in Michigan, but around the country. All right, change management. Rich, you are an expert on this. When you and I talked off air before, you said, I like change management, but it's more about something else. You said organizational change. What do you mean by
that? Yeah, man, this is what I want to do right now is I want to read you the definition off of our website. And it's funny, you're kind of led right into this because this paragraph says change management, also known as organizational change management. Mm-hmm. So that's the key, organizational change. It is the practice of effectively engaging stakeholders. In other words, our people that work for our organization, our customers, like we talked about earlier. It's about effectively engaging our stakeholders to minimize the risk to efficient adoption and maximizing those benefits that we talked about, that value, through focusing on the cultural and the people aspects of this transformation that you're going through. So that's the definition of off of our website. I'll give you my shortened words. This organizational change management, it's all about looking at the people side of things as you're moving through some type of transformation. Because as I mentioned earlier, no worries, my friend. As I mentioned earlier, you can have the greatest plan in the world, but if your people aren't on board with it, your chances of success are much, much less.
Okay, so how do you and your team and everybody on the team at MP, how do they sell some of these entrepreneurs on you need change? Because that's hard. Change is difficult, right? What is the MP kind of secret sauce here that gets everybody on board that they want to sign up with you?
Yep. And I don't like the word selling, my friend. Let's take that out of our vocabulary.
Yes.
I'm looking at a quote up here on the board that somebody wrote, and it says approach each customer with the idea of helping him or her to solve a problem or achieve a goal, not sell a solution or product. You think this is accidental? Like
I lobbed you a softball, Rich. You knocked it out of the park.
No, it's right here written on the wall, and handwritten on a dry erase board. But yeah. How do we go about, and I'm sure many of folks that are listening to this podcast are like, oh yeah, I've been involved with the project, and we kind of just tried to ram that one through, and it wasn't that successful. There was train wreck all over the place, and we had to do a lot of damage control with the people. And so here, I'm going to go high level, right? I could get down in and I could deliver a semester long course on this organizational change management. But I'll give you the secret sauce at a high level, like a 3-phase level. First off, you got to build the foundation for change, and you got to work with your leadership team to come up with that clear like the clear case study, and establish commitment towards that envisioned future state. You gotta build that foundation for change.
Love it.
Got to get people aware. Then, right, that's step one. Step two, you got to manage that change. So you got to have that. You got to have that game plan. You got to have that project in place, that kind of that step by step. But you got to actually manage it all the way through, and look for those resistors, those challenges that we may run into in making this change happen. And then finally, the last step, and this is one that organizations quite often forget about or struggle with, is actually sustaining that change. Like, okay, after we've made the change, there's a period, like I mentioned earlier, almost like a period of mourning, or a period where we have to make sure the change that we have put in place actually sticks, and it's actually adopted. And so that, Matt, again, I could go into another level or two deeper here on this concepts around organizational change management. But at a high level, it's really three different things we focus on: build the change foundation, manage the change, and then sustain that change.
On a personal level for you, and I know you have there's a lot of clients that you guys have worked with, but what is there a favorite? You don't have to be specific, but give me a story where you guys put something into place. You talked about the roadmap, the game plan, and it worked. Is there one that you walked away from saying, man, I was so happy to be a part of that?
Yeah, that's a great question, Matt. So we one of the projects in the past, we worked with how do I say this, a manufacturing organization that makes green farm equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Green and yellow.
Okay.
and so they wanted to implement a change, basically a transformation across their entire organization. And this one, it just so happened to be we're looking to implement a new piece of technology. Okay, and I know it's maybe a little bit of a leap here for some, but again, I'm using this as a great story, a great case study, because the technology, they wanted to implement that to all of their employees all around the world, and they wanted to do it quickly, and they wanted to be successful at that. And so you could imagine, right? You could have a great plan, like, hey, we're just going to push this, install this on everybody's computer, or make it available to them. Well, that's not enough. And so what we did is we worked with that organization, and we talked about how to how to do things like how about establishing awareness about this technology, or about this change that's coming. We need to establish that awareness across the organization, that the need, here's the need for the change, make people aware of the need for the change. And then the next step in our plan was to let's work to create a desire. Like, let's show people the value and what this technology, or what this change, what's the value of this change to them as an individual. And that helps drive up that desire. Like, okay, your first step was you made me aware. Now I see this, like, oh, I got to have that. I want that, because it looks so great to me. And then the next step was really about transferring the knowledge, like like the new process, or how to work with the new processes or the new tools. That it's about transferring the knowledge to the individual. So you could imagine we created how to little handbooks on how to, short snippet videos, even some classroom style training via the web, to help transfer that knowledge about, here's how to work with this new paradigm. And then the ability is gave people the access to the system, and provided them the opportunity to use the new solution. And then the last step was that it's kind of that last stage about sustaining the change, was about reinforcement. So as part of this change, once we started rolling the changes out, we wanted to drive that reinforcement. So what we try to do is catch people doing things right. Like, it's almost counterintuitive to, like, oh, you want to catch people doing things wrong and punish them. No, we want the carrot. So we look for reinforcement. We look to find people doing things right as part of accepting this change and reward those folks. And this is all about helping drive or sustain that change. So Matt, a little bit long-winded there on that
No, it was great.
One client we worked with, but again, a major client, big change, and it was really fun for us to be able to again go back where we really provided value to them.
I love it, and I see so much synergy with MP and certainly Q5, and just handling, like you said, having that roadmap and game plan that they stick to. The business owners, the entrepreneurs, and I love your story because you were one at such a young age. You're still a young guy, Rich, but like, what was that, 10, 15 years ago you sold that first business? But
yeah, okay.
But it's awesome. And for those that don't know MP, go to MI-GSO-PCUBED.com to learn more. They're based out of Ann Arbor. Rich is active on LinkedIn, so connect with him there. Rich, appreciate the time, my friend. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Fun for me too, Matt. Thanks for the opportunity.
You got it. Rich Weller with us, senior consultant at MP, that is MI-GSO PCUBED in Ann Arbor. They're heavy hitters when it comes to project management, and folks that you as entrepreneurs should talk to when you've got a big project, or when there's like he said, change management that is there and you need help. Get a hold of Rich, get a hold of the crew at MP, and they will take great care of you. All right, that'll do it for another episode right here of Succession Success, the Q5 Experience podcast, right here on the Empowering Futures Podcast Network. Check us out on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Thanks again.